Welcome back to our conversation with Dr. Avi. I'm horrible with setting boundaries. You know this. We've had these conversations.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Way too many. It's just nonstop. I just go. And I think a big part of that in my mind is do what I can for as many people that I can, whatever that looks like, before my last breath, because I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know how long I get to be here from my higher power and do what I do, and give people a voice or mentor or volunteer or sponsor or whatever that is. So yes, I do know that I need to work on that space a little bit more when it comes to self-care, for sure.
Self-care, I love the term and how everyone will chuckle and give a cringe face like that over it. Like, we all need to do it. We all acknowledge it, but we all struggle at it.
Absolutely.
And so the first thing to do is to slow down. Looking at, I need to help as many people as possible. How many would that be?
Mm-hmm.
What's the number you're thinking of?
Right.
How many people do you have to help today?
Yeah, I don't even have a number in my head. It's just, I think for me, it's an opportunity. It's a door.
Right.
Right? And whatever opens.
But at the same time, there's this abstract pressure you're throwing on.
Sure.
If you don't have a number, how are you going to know when you hit it?
Good point.
You're just going to throw more? Well, I helped 3 people today. I should have helped 4. All that's doing is you're just going to end up feeling shitty at the end of the day.
Right. As a failure. The word failure comes into play for sure.
Right. Get the number out of your head. If I can, I'll reframe it for you. Help who you can today. It might be 10, it might be 2.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have an impact on everyone you come across.
Right.
As long as you're kind of putting that positive energy with, helping someone may just be like a please and thank you at the checkout line at Target.
Yep.
You weren't yelling at them and making them feel bad because you couldn't find the thing on the shelf.
Yep.
That you were calm and cool with it. It can be as simple as that. Gonna tally that?
Yeah.
And this relates into the work that I do within the LGBT community, and particularly with the trans and non-binary clients that I work with that are really struggling with dysphoria and feeling that they don't pass or they're not doing enough. And I'll call them out and what's enough? What does that even mean? Oh, I don't feel I'm masculine enough. I don't feel I'm feminine enough. How are we measuring masculinity and femininity? Well, I don't know. If you don't know, how are you going to know if you hit it?
Good point.
Just point out with you. How are you going to know when you've helped enough people today?
Right.
If you don't know how you measure it, you're always going to feel like you're failing in some way. You're always going to be behind. So are we measuring masculinity and femininity by ounces, pounds, gallons, cubic feet? What?
Or it could be a photo of another human.
Right.
Right?
We need a metric. What do we do? Here's the one that'll stump you that I throw with these clients. What is masculinity and femininity? right-wingers like Matt Walsh will try to ding you with, like, well, what is a woman? And there's such abstract definitions. That's a gotcha question. When I ask what's masculinity and femininity, I look at it a little bit like how do we define it? And like an English teacher, you don't define something by its opposite, right? For instance, we don't define happiness as not being sad. You can be angry. Angry isn't happy. Angry is not sad. So you can't say masculinity is not being feminine. Doesn't work. And then to be more of a English teacher, you can't define it by a factor that if it wasn't there, it's still true. For instance, genitalia. If masculinity is having a penis, what about soldiers who've lost that in battle? Does that now make him a woman? Everyone will no. Why not? What? What is masculinity there? It's usually around this point that they get really frustrated and they start cussing me out, which I love it. Love that. I love it when they get that frustrated with me because now I know we're being real. We've cut through politeness. Now they're genuinely being frustrated with me. Good. I don't know. Well, if it can't be physical features, because it's still true, then it's got to be something more intrinsic. It's personality, right? What features and personality? Well, I don't know. It's a good thing I have lists. You think of personality characteristics that you would think and associate with femininity. And the amazing thing is, if I put that list out and put it in front of you and had you highlighting it here, yours would probably be different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it would still be 100% valid.
Right.
Right? Got everybody in here. Everybody's is going to be different. But it's not wrong.
Right. I agree.
What's key is discovering your definition. Once you have a definition, now you have a metric. Are you doing enough?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got to be doing enough, because if you're doing these things by your own definition, what else do you have to do?
Very good point.
If you help one person today, you've met your goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And one person, you just changed their day. Right?
You ever hear the parable of the starfish?
I don't think I have.
You know I like to tell stories and metaphor and everything. Parable of the starfish. An old man is walking along the beach and sees hundreds of starfish have been washed up by a storm. Sees a young boy picking up the starfish and throwing them back into the water. Hundreds of thousands of them. One by one, he's just throwing them back. The old man says, "What are you doing?" The boy says, "I'm throwing the starfish back because if I leave them out here, they'll die." The man says, "There's thousands of them here. You're not going to be able to save all of them." And the boy picks up another starfish and throws it back. He says, "Saved that one."
I like that. It's true. All it takes is one, right? And that's always been my mindset, even with the idea of having this platform, and letting people share their personal voice and stories, right, of what they've gone through in their life. And just have that one person that's out there listening or watching, and having that story resonate with them and understand that they're not by themselves.
Yeah.
Right? And they can easily contact me or anyone, right, for resources, for services that are out there to assist them in where they are currently at that point in time in their life. It just takes one.
Only one.
Yeah.
All you gotta do.
Yep. I do wake up and say to myself, how do I get to create value for someone today?
What do you usually come up with?
It looks different every day,
Right?
right? It absolutely does. And like you said, it could be just a hello and thank you, opening a door, closing a door for someone. I mean, it just, whatever that looks like, because I'm not going to look at value as a spectrum. It's not going to be on A to Z,
Right.
right? It's just, value is whatever it looks like for you personally.
When I started grad school in psychology, I came in with these pie-in-the-sky ideas of what therapy is supposed to be like. Right, I'm the expert. I'm the one with letters after my name. You're going to come in, and I'm going to give you pearls of wisdom, and I'm going to have all these tools and techniques and recommendations every time. So I've got to be ready. I've got to have everything. I better know my tools inside and out to be able to say, oh yeah, do this thing. And that's what makes a really good therapist. I've found, more often than not, just sitting and listening. Sometimes my most successful sessions, I barely say 4 words. How are you doing? And just sit and listen. Never once need to pull out, oh, well, try this CBT technique, or try this, or let's... Just sitting and genuinely wanting to hear them. That seems to be most effective.
Right, because we don't need to be the person in the room that does all the talking.
So when I tell students, grad students, again, they see me as this mystical professional doctor off you coming in. Like, oh, what do you... How is it that you're working with LGBT clients? What's the secret? Sit there and ask them, and listen to them. You just need to build a connection with them first and foremost. Stop getting in your head. What do I got to do next? Oh, if they say this, I need to do that. No, because now you're losing track with what they're talking about.
Right.
Just listen. Be genuine. Genuinely appreciate and listen to what they're saying. Because more often than not, that's what they're lacking. Someone that they can come to and just talk to without judgment.
And I think that's huge. The last 2 words you just said, without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I actually have a sweatshirt that says, say less, do more. And I brought that with me to Flagstaff for Pride in the Pines a couple weekends ago. And I threw it on my chair at my booth. I must have had at least 5 people, maybe more, come up and go, do you have that? Where can I get that? They loved the quote. And it's so true.
Yeah.
It resonated with them. Yeah.
Yeah, something as simple as that.
Right. Absolutely. 4 words.
4 words.
Yeah.
The catch is that you have to genuinely mean it
For
and
sure.
actually want to hear it.
Right.
and not just throw it out as a courtesy,
Right.
because that's what we're used to too.
Yep.
When I remind clients, like when I ask how you're doing, I genuinely want to know how you're doing. Don't just come in and tell me all the good stuff. I'm like, no, I like working through the bad stuff. How have you been doing? How's the past week been?
Yeah, for sure.
How are you living under new laws and policies and Supreme Court decisions going on? And don't tell me, like, oh, I don't pay attention to politics, because you will.
Yes. And that's another podcast we'll sit down and talk about.
No
Those
problem. We got plenty of topics we can
Yes.
cover.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Do you have, for people listening, do you have any words of wisdom? If they're, you love that, dude.
Like I'm some little guru on the top of a mountain. Like, yes, the key to
Right? You are,
happiness.
though.
And
You are. Yes, words of wisdom. Any recommendations for people going through a phase in their life where they haven't come out, but so want to? Is there a place that they can reach out to and have conversations and make their circle even bigger of support and acceptance in this community here in the Valley, so they know that they're in a safe space and have those conversations of, like I told Chase, I said, I accepted him immediately, obviously, but having those conversations with other people in the queer community, knowing that they didn't have
yeah,
the parents, the siblings, the family members, the friends that were accepting when they did choose to come out. And, I was like, hey, have you come out to your dad or your mom? And they're like, just my brother and sister. And it's like, you will know when that right time is to have that conversation. So don't push it. Don't put more pressure on yourself.
right. You can't force it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know if there's organizations that you know of that you could throw out there.
That you don't.
There's probably some that I don't know about, right? That you do, and you could suggest different groups of people that are more than willing and accepting to give you more and more support.
Yeah. There's so many organizations in the Valley and in Arizona. It kind of just depends on where the listeners are at, how they're identifying, the age that they're at. So, I don't know if you're getting elementary school kids or anything, but there's AZ Type O. That's for little lowercase t's.
Right. Gotcha.
And parents.
Mm-hmm.
You've got onenten
Right.
for teens, which just seems to be growing like weeds through
Yeah,
all of
their
Arizona.
age range now, it's all like 11 to 24.
Yep. And expanding, I think, up to Sholo now. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Go a little bit older. There's TransSpectrum. That's 18 and up for trans and non-binary adults and family members, because they have multiple groups for that, for family members, loved ones, partners.
That's great.
Other resources, there's school GSAs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
look at the individual school. Typically middle and high schools. Most of them in the Valley have them, including the East Valley,
Mm-hmm.
which
Right.
they're growing more and more, which
Right.
is surprising,
They are.
but very cool.
Right.
Any issues in looking For school GSAs, GLSEN
Right.
would be the resource there. Um, yeah, those are the main ones off the top of
Awesome.
my head.
Awesome. Yeah, I knew you'd have some, for sure.
I don't think any
Yeah.
were particularly surprising.
I love
I mean, the only one that I can think of, like, really, most people don't think about is native PFLAG.
Oh,
PFLAG in Phoenix kind of went quiet.
sure. Right.
I'm really kind of hoping that they get resurrected at some point in time, because
Right.
that's the resource for family members.
It is.
It's like their 1 in 10 group.
Yeah.
But they have a branch in native PFLAG, so our Native American individuals needing to navigate and get the support. There are groups for that too.
Right. Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down and just have that conversation. I mean, we've been trying to get together to get this all set up.
Right.
And I'm so glad that it finally came together. And, you're a plethora of knowledge, and I truly appreciate that, as well as sharing your story.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we could finally get
Right,
together
yeah.
and do this.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again and talk about other additional topics.
Yeah, you can give me the time, date, and the topic you want to go, and
Yeah.
the hard part is getting me to shut up.
I love that. So, well, thank you again so much, Dr. Avi. I always love sitting down and even having coffee with you. We talk forever.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to Dr. Avi. Please join me on this platform. If you have a story that you would like to share, please reach out to me, whether that's on my social media, my email, my cell phone, and let me know that you would love to share your story, your voice, so someone out there can hear what you've gone through.